All right. Well, welcome to the dark future. And so, as the scene opens up after last night's thrilling car chase, Maradine has been pretty much hyped up on the adrenaline all night, so she's been smooth sailing for the whole trip. Pretty much within a few hours of leaving Night City, it's just a pale glow on the horizon. And I don't know if any of y'all have taken really long road trips across the middle of the country. It's literally like pitch black, and you don't see anything but like the few dozen feet that the headlight in front of you shows you, and you sometimes get this like weird tunnel vision feeling, like you're literally just traveling in a straight line, and there's nothing outside of just a little cone of light. Very, it's very almost like hypnotic, and at least when I used to take long road trips, I used to have the danger of like falling asleep at the wheel. Um, Put myself up full of caffeine and nicotine. I used to like chain smoke at night when I drove. It would still just be like I'd have to leave the windows rolled down with the music blaring, and I would have to like slap myself in the faces a couple of times in the night to do it. But anyway, Meridine has none of those problems because she is a seasoned driver, and this is old hat for her because her and her family pretty much spent their whole life on the road. So
Also, the fact that we were in a gunfight not 2 hours ago helps.
and still off the impressive physical prowess of Trench.
that just like in the back, like nothing happened.
Yeah, and he's
You
just
kept
sitting
your
in
eyes
the back.
forward, and that what matters.
He just after that whole thing, he just sits back in the car and he's just, everyone's like, "Damn, that was fucking awesome." He's like, "Yeah, okay, can we go now?"
Yeah, basically.
That's going on your tab.
So like I said, the night's pretty uneventful. It's empty and dark, and as you start to see the purple and pinks and reds of the dawn rising, you find yourself coming over a hill, a cliff. Up in front of you, you see a little branch off. You know from the directions you were given that you're supposed to take this branch off road to get into this valley. And sure enough, in front of the entrance of this turnoff, you see a huge sign up in the front. However, and history has not been kind to this place, and so Meridine, you're probably pretty sure this was supposed to say Pine Valley Recreation Center because that's what the map tells you. But all that's left there is a completely devastated and destroyed front billboard sign, just pocked full of bullet holes and faded paint, and the corner of it, apparently someone set it on fire, so it's scorched on one end. And as you roll into the valley, you see basically what you see in the scene on the picture there. What probably was a very picturesque, kind of wooded, secluded, forest valley is just a blighted, desolate wasteland of dust and dead trees, gray stumps that are just standing straight up from the ground or lying all.
And I guess that we might see people like there where I'm thinking.
But as you're driving off in the distance, you do see something that appears to be like a settlement or a camp or something way off in the center of the valley. But most of the surrounding area is generally just a wasteland. You see off in the distance in some parts of the hills of the cliff sides of the valley, what you would probably imagine would be buildings or structures, but now it's just broken foundations and empty, shattered walls, and this place is just. History has not been kind to this place, and so as like I said, as you crest over the hill and you're driving in, this is the sight you see before you. Now, Kitty, the valley
That's me.
proper. As soon as you come down and hit the valley proper, your cyber deck gives you an alert, and for surprisingly, because for hours and hours and hours you've been essentially cut off from most wireless transmissions because this is like the dead zones.
Mm-hmm.
You see an announcement that there is a new network available for connection, and it is called our guest.
I bet this must be our point of contact. So, Katie will go ahead and hop into her cyber deck, just sort of sit up straight in her chair, close her eyes, and connect to VR.
On the seat.
Yeah,
Since
I
we're
could just
still
sit
in the
up on the
car.
seat.
Okay.
So yeah, as soon as you plug in your connection, you connect to the network. You see that what is presented to you is a directory. Because you're a hacker, you get to see beyond what the standard person would see.
Mm-hmm.
And so, however, strangely enough, while the network's available from your immediate impression, it's like almost a miracle you could connect at all because, as far as you can tell, the signal strength is extremely weak, and most of what you would see as sort of like the network status messages are all like offline, corrupted, invalid token, security clearance not updated. Like it's
Right,
literally
someone
like.
took a USB stick and set it up with a Pringles can, and that's what I'm connecting to.
And so, no, it's quite the opposite. What you see is a rather sophisticated corporate network that, from all intents and purposes, was abandoned and has been slowly degrading over the decades.
Ooh.
And so, for example, there's a section that's labeled environmental sensors, but it says offline. There's a whole category that says, groundskeeping and maintenance drones, and it says missing.
So it seems like there's a lot of information here, but
So,
of course everything is broken.
right. And so as you scan through the directories, you go back up to basically like the top level user where like the normal guest would hide in, and you realize that the only function, had you not had a cyber deck and all these hacker functions, that you would have honestly only been available to is basically like an autoplay AI system. Even for 20-year-old technology, you have the ability of basically transmitting it through the car's multimedia system. It's basically got like a little kid entertainment center in the back to like keep the kids distracted for a long road trip. So it's got like a full holographic movie display.
Well, if I know anything about the people with me, they absolutely need to be treated like kids and hear the full-on tour.
No, I see.
All right, so you punch it up and you hit activate, and you hear a bunch of everyone in the car starts hearing a bunch of crackling and popping noises, and then it almost sounds like the old school modem, like a dee, and for a fact, Kitty, that this is something like, wow, it's like miracle it connected. And then right in the middle of the car, in full holographic, sort of like Star Wars display, you see a figure appear, a woman. She's very attractive, almost unnaturally attractive. It's almost like photoshopped attractive. And she's in what looks like a stewardess outfit, like an airline stewardess. She's got the little funny hat on her head and the crisp business-like suit with and it's deep navy blue with gold trim and red pinstripes. Very, very, like almost like a welcome receptionist kind of vibe that you're getting from her.
Very nice.
Pops up almost as if on script. It just, she beams a smile, perfect customer service smile, and she just starts going off on, welcome to the Pine Valley Recreation Center, a facility managed by Alegria LLC, a subsidiary of Petrochem. Here at Alegria, we are dedicated and devoted to providing you the best corporate rest and relaxation program authorized by your bonus and perk status. We have a complete, isolated, and engineered space specifically designed to reduce stress, alleviate anxiety, and provide the perfect escape from corporate life. Oh my, there seems to be something unusual happening. And what you've noticed by the end of that conversation, while she started off with perfect diction and perfect, like presentation voice, by the time you got to like we have completely isolated, it started doing like that Max Hendren stutter. Completely isolated and engineer space specifically designed to reduce stress.
Just getting more and more corrupted.
Kitty, you're shocked because normally your understanding of how these systems are supposed to work is usually the greeter AI is a dumb robot. So if it fails, it's supposed to just reboot and start over or just pick up from where it can. But you notice in the code as you're watching the data transmission, the AI is fixing itself and is sort of aware that it's in a degraded state. And so for a fact that the oh my, I am sorry is not part of the script.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
And so sure enough, in an almost human-like moment that's really unusual for a greeter AI. She kind of like stops for a moment and she's like looking around as if she's scanning for something. And then she kind of like, you almost feel like she's kind of like putting herself up again, like, getting herself steeled again. And then she just continues on like almost like a customer service agent, like, oh, my apologies, I seem to be experiencing a minor issue. If you look outside your vehicle, you can see many of our wonderful outdoor facilities and see our magnificent and beautifully manicured landscape, which of course, as instinctively as you look out, you just are
It's
reminded
dead.
of it's dead, desolate, absolutely ecologically destroyed. And so, yeah, now you realize that the scattered hulk husks of buildings that you see in the distance must be these facilities that she's mentioning. And for a moment, you could almost imagine, because you're reaching a point and you realize that this presentation is timed to how long it takes for you to get from point A to point B, Kitty, that if this had been in the proper time and space, you would have been afforded a majestic view of the entire valley. But of course, now you have a absolutely horror show of a nightmarescape in front of you.
Well,
I don't
not
suppose
a
our view of the valley horrorscape might actually also include where our contacts would be.
Off in the distance, you do see where on the map you have logically identified as the front gate and the welcome center. There is in fact a structure, and you can, like I said, you see like a settlement. You see almost distinctly two different camps of settlements, and then also in the map you see like there's a actually. Why am I doing that? I'm being silly. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I will actually flip you
since you
over.
die.
Actually, what you would actually see on the map, which would be this.
Where are we?
You are essentially over here on the outskirts.
Oh,
And so what you
that's
see
a
off to the
big fucking place then.
yeah, it's a huge valley, but it's all wasteland. The only part that you actually see occupied is next to the front gate, which is this area. This lake is nothing but a flat, dry bed. You see some sort of structure off in the distance, but it's not a lake anymore. It's all dried. It's a dried riverbed going all the way up to the visitor center, and that's what you see before you. So yeah, that is what's going on.
The gate is open or closed?
What you can tell is what should just be a normal gate has been converted to some sort of like wall, for lack of a better word. Vacations would probably be the best thing you can describe it as. And so, as you're watching all this and noticing, the settlement off in the distance, you see the AI pick up where it's still going on in the script. And she's like, well, where you will find all manners of activities to your energy levels. Our current schedule of activities are, and then you see her pause, and like once again, she's like looking for something, and she's like, stand by, and she's still looking around, and she's like, still looking, and she's like, strange, I can't seem to locate that. Well, you can always enjoy strolling amidst our marvelous landscape. Current weather conditions are, and then once again, she's literally like looking for something as if she's supposed to be there, like teleprompter error. And she's like, I mean, it's currently, and then, yep, she's still like trying to figure out what to say. And she's like, well, curious, I'm not able to determine that parameter. Well, if you're unsure about an itinerary, there are staff waiting to assist you to determine the best experience for you to maximize your stay. And, once again, though, by the time she gets to the end of this, she's back to Mac Headroom mode. So it's like, if you're unsure about the itinerary, there are staff waiting to assist you in determining the best experience to maximize your. And then, except this time, instead of her having that moment of confusion, she almost, once again, in a very human like moment, she kind of just like snapped, like you can see a person like snap out of it. And then she like once again she steadies herself and once again back to perfect diction. And she's like, and don't forget, we host numerous performances from some of the best entertainers across the US and even internationally. The current scheduled headliner is
Nothing.
one moment. Strange. I seem to be missing critical information.
Oh, what a
Stand by.
surprise.
So like I said, once again, you are looking and like you have noticed that the AI should have encountered several fatal errors in the course of this stick. And every time it approaches that fatal error, it miraculously knows not to go there, and it steers its functions away. One moment I seem to be missing critical information is her way of covering up the fact that she's literally operating on a limb here.
Right, and here I'm just sitting here in my techno bubble, probably like side explain to everyone, like, I guess the greeter program must have encountered all these errors, and as a way of compensating, developed a bit of rudimentary AI. Very interesting.
Is that normal?
So, like I said, the part that really throws you off is, you're a corporate programmer. You dealt with corporate greeter AI, and it's usually like boilerplate, barely cognizant AI. Because honestly, to pass the Turing test in the dark future, you don't need that much processing power. This is way more processing power for just something that you're supposed to explain to you, like where you're going.
Right.
So you're just like, wow, like all this effort for just a greeter, like it seems like a waste. And so yeah, sure enough, it's in the most eerily human moment, she once she realizes that she lacks the necessary function, she goes, I must apologize. I seem to be experiencing a minor difficulty that's affecting my ability to introduce you to our facility. There is nothing to worry though. There are human agents perfectly capable and trained to take care of your every need at the Welcome Center. Please feel free to utilize them to help you with your stay. And welcome to the Pine Valley Recreation Center from Allegria LLC, a subsidiary of Petrochem. We are here for joy. And then with that, she waves like in a perfect stewardess airline, like the security video that you get before the flight. She does that, we are here for joy, and perfect Colgate smile, and the program winks out, which you realize is the AI finally giving up and shutting down.
Take your joy.
Right, and then sure enough, almost miraculously timed, as you hear that final skit, you reach the last bend in the road and you roll up to what's supposed to be the Welcome Center, but which is now more of a Mad Mad-esque style. Like you remember in Mad Max, the Road Warrior, when he shows up and there's those people in the oil refinery and they paraded this perimeter around it, like tin sheets and like scraps of metals that they just welded together.
Yeah, it is like complete improv palisade.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. It's literally running across where would normally would be like the very standard, like, lift gates greeting area. It's now been converted to basically a palisade barricade. And sure enough, along the top of the palisade, you see a couple of rough looking dudes, with shotguns, and as soon as they see you, they don't have their weapons trained, but you can obviously tell they're at attention.
Right.
Yeah, Maradine, you now have to stop or else you'd slam into the gate.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna look at
Honk
Ricky.
'em.
I'm gonna look at Ricky and say, well, I guess that's your call.
All right, so within a couple of seconds, you see a smaller. So basically, I'm sure you understand. Like, there's a huge gate that allows trucks and bigger vehicles to go in, and there's a smaller door gate for people who just want to go in and out. So you see that kind of break open, and you see a guy come out with a couple of other dudes. They got their hands on their pistols. This dude's got like a shotgun across his shoulder. He walks up to the car on your side, Maradine.
I'm gonna roll down the window, I guess.
And he goes, who are you?
Me, I'm just a driver. You want to speak with him? As I point Ricky.
And he leaps down. He goes, who are you?
I'm just a speaker. You're gonna want to talk to Noah, actually. We're here doing business. We got your request for help. I was sent from Razor.
Oh, you with Razor?
I am indeed.
Okay. Yeah, we were waiting on you. We got the phone call last night. Okay, hold on a minute here. And you see him turn around and he talks to him. Go tell Roger. And I'm saying it runs inside for, and in a couple of minutes, and he's looking at the car. Obviously it's nice and clean, and although it's rut, dirt, trip dust, it's still much nicer than any vehicle around here. And the guy looks at you, Meredy, and goes, nice wheels. What's the top speed on this baby?
I didn't test it yet. To be honest, I just got it from some hours ago. I rent it to drive this guy here. Well, those guys.
And the girl, don't forget the girl.
Yeah, in Tagal.
He goes, I go, yeah, it's a soccer mom mover, but you shave off half this body and you do a few modifications, you could probably get a good quarter mile out of this baby.
Maybe when I will get one of my own, but yeah, we had a little encounter on the road. Not
Really?
I think we like having a roof over our heads most of the time.
Roofs moves. What's a roof if you can add a quarter second to the quarter mile? You know what I'm talking about?
Hell yeah, brother.
So in a couple of minutes, you hear there's a noise from behind, and he turns around and he goes, "Okay." And so he does a little hand motion, and you see like the main gate start to open in, and he's like, "All right, Razor will meet you inside. Roll on by, and you'll see where you could stop." So I'm just going to do a little quick switch over.
Cool, yeah. You mean Roger will meet us inside?
Yeah, Roger will meet you past the front gate. And so as you see right there, that's pretty much the layout of the Welcome Center. You are currently at where number 1 is located. This palisade fortification thing is actually held up partially by this structure in the back that you see a bunch of guys coming in and out. That's how they get up to the second floor and whatnot. And then you see from the main road where this little turnoff is. And then you see this structure that's labeled number 3, which seems to be where the main area is. You see a bunch of cars parked out in the front and whatnot. So logically speaking, you figure out that's where you need to go. So as you pull in your car, you pull up, you're greeted by a bunch of other guys. They're all nomads. They all pretty much have shotguns. And out from building number 3, fat old man come out. He's got a pair of racing goggles on top of his head. He's got what was probably a very nice leather vest on, but now with age and weight, it's just kind of like comically too short for his body. And on the left side of his lapel, sort of like biker style, you see a picture of the Warner Brothers Roadrunner emblazoned on the top. And so this guy walks up. He also has underneath the headbands. He's got a handkerchief headband, do rag, and it's all skull and crossbones. And sure enough, on the shirt, you can see a really faded black, really super faded, but it's just a faint outline of the Jolly Roger logo across his shirt. And then as you notice, most of the other guys, the other nomads in the pack, they're all wearing Roadrunner either on their shoulder or on their lapels, on their, whatever, the breast area. And some of them have the same type of leather vests as he does, but obviously more well-fitting, and there's a huge emblazoned Roadrunners logos on the back of all those too. He's there, he's standing there, and
I guess me and Kitty were going to wait you on the car while you do the stuff.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Ricky's gonna hop out of the car, hold his hand out to the man for a shake. I assume that you're Roger. Contact we're supposed to meet here.
Yeah, I'm Roger. Roger Dodger's my name. They call me the Jolly Roger sometimes. What's your name, buddy?
I'm Ricky. You may call me that or Mongoose, whichever you prefer.
I take it Razor sent you?
He did indeed. How have you?
Right,
well, what's mainly the problem that you're facing here?
Well, it's a long story. So why don't you and yours come inside and get yourselves all settled down and comfortable from the road trip. Must have been a long trip.
Sounds good to me.
All right, and with that, he goes, all right, they're good, boys. They're with us. And, the small crowd of people make way, and basically he ushers you inside to building 3. I'm assuming the rest of you all are following in?
No, Meridine is going to stay in the car.
Gonna stay in the car? What about you, Kitty?
Ah, come on, let's go inside. It's nice to meet the neighbors. Gotta work for them anyway.
I prefer to stay with the car in case of something bad happen.
I guess that's fair. Well, if there's anything interesting said, I'll tell you. It's probably just gonna be boring, though.
Oh.
You won't miss a thing.
And also, Kitty, while you're doing this, you've left your cyber deck running, and so you've noticed that
Mhm.
the network signal that you're connecting to has gotten really strong from this building. And as you kind of sort of gauge the strength, you're looking over and you see where building 4 is.
Mm-hmm.
You're not only do you pretty much guesstimate that that's where the source of the network connection is, but you also see that it's a more corporate office like. You're just like, if there was any place that would have like a server room, that's probably where it would be.
Perfect.
Yeah,
We can definitely head there once the situation warrants it.
yeah. And Meriden will
Love
look at Trench and he will say, "So you're going to go with Ricky?"
Yep.
That's what you're doing, Trent. You're following Ricky in.
Yeah.
You're into building 3, which, as you get inside, you realize was probably just once a huge maintenance shed locker, and so they've just basically converted it to just a very big lounge kind of meeting area. And so, sure enough, um, so unless you guys know how nomads operate, what you see is like there's a little reserve area for Roger and what you assume is the top leadership of the nomads, and then as the rest of it's laid out where people could just hang out and lounge around. And Roger takes you up to his little section, which is the nicest couches with the real nice glasses and whatnot. And so he sits down, and then with a couple minutes, one of the other nomad guys come up. They drop a couple of bottles on the table and passes them around to everybody and goes, well. I mean, he goes, I wasn't expecting Razor to answer so quickly.
It turned out that your request and my initiation lined up quite well, so for both of us, it was a really good time.
Ah, he goes, you seem a little young. I don't think you were around when me and Razor ran together.
More than likely, I was not, but I'm sure it was a hell of a time.
Yeah, me and Razor, we had some crazy times, him and I. He goes, my success was almost every much a bit of his help as his success was mine. Um, guys, huh?
Uh, what was that? The word right before "huh"? You broke up.
Like you guys are the new guys, huh?
Basically, some of us have run a few jobs, but this is the first one I'm leading for y'all.
I see. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who did Razor send?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but I've got almost a 100% success rate on any quest I've been given.
Quest.
I managed to get anything you need, whether it be info, weapons, some medicine. If you need it, I can get it. These people, I'm sure that they're just as credible at their jobs.
Well, from the
Hmm.
sounds of it, it sounds like you have a bit of a security situation. Hi, my name is Kitty, and she'll just reach her hand out to shake with theirs real quick, and then also take a quick little drink.
He gives you a very meaty, manly kind of dude handshake. And he goes, nice to meet you, little lady. He goes,
Kitty just responds back with a firm professional handshake, just trying to meet at
Two
least that
shakes, and you try to
pressure
let go.
level. Yeah, exactly. Two
Goes,
shapes is professional.
and he notices your cyber deck, and I go, oh, I see you're a computer nerd.
Yeah, she's one of the typers.
I like to think of myself as more of a professional spider at this point. But by
Uh-huh.
the looks of it, there is a local network in the area, and it seems to be running. Did your men put power right back into that, or has it just been going the whole time?
And he kind of gives you this look. He goes, I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm a racer. I don't know squat about networks. Um, he looks around to somebody and goes, what the fuck is that guy? He goes, Steve, and he yells over, Steve, get your ass over here. And so you see this guy come up. He's sort of like he's got a full mechanic. He's got all kinds of tools off his vest, and he's got a bit of a dorky cyber modem deal going.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve, this girl's talking about you running some network out here. And he goes, network? I don't know anything about no network. He goes, I do know that whatever's left of the corporate intranet's still running only because I'm running the main power switch through. But that's how we keep the lights on. I just never bothered to shut the server down. Didn't cause me any trouble, and I kind of think she's cute.
Well, you're right about that. It is very adorable. But more importantly, it poses two interesting little security questions, if that's what we're here to fix. The first is that it seems to be connected to a large amount of sensors around the facility, but all of those sensors are broken. That could definitely be one angle we can take, depending on the specific issue we're going to face. And secondly, it is still admin by the corporation, undoubtedly. If they have any sort of password or backdoor, then that's going to be wide open already. And it might provide some slight amount of information. So, both a potential barricade and risk.
And so you see Roger kind of like he's stroking his chin, and for a moment you thought he was following along, but you've done this enough times to know when people glass eye over when you technobabble them.
Right,
You
and
know.
here I am, like, literally just, selling my product to them. It's like, I can definitely handle this. But of course,
And he goes,
I'm sure
goes,
our friend here has more questions about the situation, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
And Roger just looks at you, and goes, lady, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He goes, you're more than welcome to go into building 4. It's just basically a storage room now. So if you want to check it out, I mean, I was like,
Thank you.
I don't
I'll
know.
see
And
to it
he's
as
like,
part of my work.
I don't know what Petrochem has to do with all this, but okay. And he goes, Steve, show her building 4 when you get a chance. And he goes, all right, man. He goes, can I finish my drink first? And he goes, go fucking finish your drink.
You have time.
Back and goes, well, he goes, that's very interesting. I didn't know about all that. I mean, honestly, I didn't give a fuck about the little glowing girl, but whatever. He goes, my problem, huh? Well, me and the guys here, we used to be on the circuit for years. And I mean, I don't know if you know who I am, but I used to win a lot of races back in the day. And Meridine's not here, so she wouldn't know. Who would know about this? Who would actually the two people who are not from Trench.
Yeah, boy.
You as you sit there, as you are sitting there, you all of a sudden in your memory remember that there was once a guy called the Jolly Roger, race car driver. And he was infamous because he would do legitimate races and illegal races broadcasted.
My hero.
And so for example, I will just put this in as part of my world building. There was once a set of races called the red lines and the yellow line circuits. And so the difference between the red lines and the yellow lines was the yellow line was races where you could disable other cars. So it was sort of like a Ben-Hur, you could run the carts off the road kind of thing. But the red lines were full-on cannonball run death races. So he Trench, only because military guys always love sports and they always follow different sports. That the Jolly Roger did hold the record for the most red line and yellow line wins in the circuit history, right before it got so out of hand and so dangerous that the corporations shut it down. Because not only were the racers dying at a phenomenal rate, they started doing real property damage. And so, but this was years ago.
Understood.
And so
You relayed none of this to us.
Not a word.
Really? No, yeah, red line. Thank you. Did someone say red line? Exactly. It's
Hell yeah.
that. And so yeah, and so whatchamacallit, so he sits back and he goes, so Listen, my racing days are long behind me. I used to love the road, but a few too many steak dinners and a few too many bottle of booze, and you know, Petrochem decided that I wasn't worth the investment anymore. Plus, they fucking canceled the red line, and so yeah, I've been living here for the last few years. I've been trying to raise a new generation of racers, trying to come up with some fucking diamond in these roughs. And so yeah, everything was hunky dory. I was all happy just sitting here, just building my cars and training my racers. And then a couple of weeks ago, weird shit happened to me. A couple of my guys got attacked on the highway, you know, started getting all kinds of weird threats. And then yeah, a couple of weeks ago, this guy shows up out of nowhere, says that we all have to leave. Now, I say it's the first place I've ever squatted, mind you. I know how the game's played. You usually have to come up with some kind of eviction notice or some kind of legal mumbo jumbo to justify what you're doing. But this guy just straight up was like, yo, you guys just need to leave. I ain't gonna have nobody tell me what to do with me and mine, so I promptly told him to go fuck off. Ever since then, I just keep getting these troubles. Now, listen, I carry this on my own, but I will be completely honest with you. All my weapons. That's what I ran into.
You were breaking up a little bit.
He tells you that basically what he tells you is part of the reason why he's running into the trouble is he is building a new race car. In the process of trying to get enough money to build this race car, he had to sell all of his heavy weaponry, thinking that and not worry about it. Now all of a sudden, all these guys are showing up and they're heavily armed, and as you saw in the Palisade, everyone's rocking shotguns and pistols.
Yeah.
And so now he's like, yeah, that's why I need some help. I need some heavy muscle. He goes, I'm sure this is another nomad gang who heard about the weapon sale and thought that they could take advantage of me. And like I said, if I had a couple of more weeks, I know I can win a race, make enough money, and rearm myself. But I need that window, or else goes, you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Figured I remembered that Razor owed me a favor. I called him up and said if he could help me out in this situation.
I'm gonna need a little bit more detail on what the guy who asked you guys to leave looked like. If he had anything that you could recognize again.
Well, like I said, this ain't my first time at the rodeo. This ain't the first time I had someone try to muscle me out of my territory. He looks like a nomader. He's got a bunch of nomaders with him. He's a young guy, trench coat. He's got a robot hands, kind of crew cutish kind of look to him. That's the thing. He doesn't say he works for anybody. He's not saying he's representing any corporation. And as far as I know, shit about this place anymore. They have nobody. There've been no activity on this property for at least 20 years. I don't get it.
I'm gonna, when he says trench coat and robotic hand, I'm gonna like out of instinct, I'll look over the trench and try to check his hands.
And so
Looks human.
he looks over. He goes, "I got what you're saying, Chief. He don't look as impressive as this dude. He's kind of a younger guy."
Okay. Glad we cleared this up, because this guy just crashed a car with his body. I don't want to go against him.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
ask him. He'll tell you more.
I guess Razor did send some good guys. All right. I feel better. Okay. Drinks all around.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yes, being that you guys are heavy dudes, you would want to know what weaponry we have. Down by he points over to where the front palisade gate was. He goes, right next to it is where we hold the armory. You're welcome yourself to any kind of weapons. I feel ashamed to say that, like I said, we sold most of our heavy weaponry in the last few weeks. So you're welcome to whatever you got. If you want to search around and see what you could do to improve the defenses on this place, I'd be more than helpful. As far as my scouts told me, ain't nobody operating on the road around here, so we're good to go.
All right, sounds great.
He looks over to Kitty. I'm assuming you want to do your little network geeky thing or whatever.
It would be a good start, and Meredith could probably keep in contact and fix things as I connect them to the server. And I could work on getting admin access too, and that'll allow you to take full control.
Kitty, you lost him at access.
Once again,
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try it in incredibly simple
No,
terms.
I don't think that's gonna help. I'm just gonna keep talking over her. I'm not gonna let her say anything to this dude.
Yeah, he's just like, whatever, baby. Steve, yeah, take her to building 4. See Steve come back up. He's got a big tankard. Looks like it's beaten out of some piece of scrap metal, and he's just like, come on, I'll show you where it is.
All right, I'm gonna head out with Steve then.
You want me to help you out, or can I go check out the armory?
Yeah, you can go check out the armory if you want. Like I
All
said,
right,
at that point, Roger's just leaning back, and he's just being like gang leader at this point, and tossing back. And you realize he's a bit of a joker and a talker. So
A smoker.
Yeah.
A midnight talker.
Exactly. And so,
How dare you?
And so, yeah, the rather festive environment has now risen up inside the meeting hall as evening is. Well, no, it's actually early morning. As early morning's coming in and the day's starting and everyone's coming and going, and whatnot. So we cut to the scene. Meridine, you see Kitty walk out with another individual that you sort of identify as he's a fixer. He's a techie. You can identify him as a techie. And they walk over. You go over to building 4, or just okay to just go straight there?
Building 4. I'll actually stop by Meridine for a moment and explain the situation.
Yeah, Meridine, you hear about that there's a server room. There's a server room next door that this gang has been harassing. Gang is harassing this gang, and that you're here to basically bolster their defenses.
Oh.
So, if you like the idea of driving around and fixing things as I hook them up through the server, then, well, I think we got a bit of a job ahead, and, well, an easy one probably at that.
Sure. Did the guy say that I could take one of his guys with me? Just in case of protection.
Right, I won't want you heading out alone.
So I will tell you that at least in terms of the valley proper, there are patrols, and the area is relatively secure. There are guys that are out there to make sure that there aren't bandits lurking around everywhere. So he's like, so basically, Roger's like, as long as you stay to the main road and paths, outside of weird animals and whatever, you're pretty much safe to go anywhere in the valley that you feel.
And Meridine.
The reason why is that in all reality, there's only one way to get in here, and that's the road that you came in.
And Meridine will ask Kitty, did he mention that they use any mine?
No, they don't have any minefields.
Okay.
Sadly.
Right, I imagine that'd be very awkward to not have mentioned, and then, well...
Whoops, we forgot to mention the minefield, guys. Hope it's okay.
Yeah, don't go down that way.
Definitely not getting the deposit back after that one.
If you want me to go to places to fix things while you guide me, sure.
Kitty will just tap her head and say, I'll go ahead and keep in touch and tell you wherever I manage to hook up first. Maybe I'll get a good map of the place to send you.
By the way, Ricky gave you guys all his personal cell number, in the car ride over.
Okay.
Right, Kitty will also share her contact so that everyone can keep in touch.
He'll look at it once and he'll just put it to the side immediately. He'll know it.
Sweet.
I mean, you deal with numbers a lot. Phone numbers aren't too trivial.
Yeah.
Or are trivial, sorry.
So yeah, with that, Steve guides you over to building floor. As you get closer to it, you notice that it is in fact a very corporate and office-like structure. You surmise that this was probably administrative building, and so he leads you in through the front door. The first floor is basically storage. there's a little lounge area where you see like a table with some playing cards, probably where guys go to hide out from the heat of the sun during the day and whatnot. And he takes you up. He goes, well, all the main power stuff's on the second floor.
Is that where the server is as well?
Yeah, and he takes you upstairs. The second floor is completely abandoned. There's nothing useful up here. You see just broken, dilapidated, wasteland-like office furniture, papers strewn all over the place. They're all faded from the sun and age. Nothing is legible. You see nameplates on tables that you can't read anymore because they've rusted over. And yeah, it's just looks like as if, this looks like an abandoned building. And so
Yeah,
he
just
walks
what a
up,
dump.
right? And so he walks around and he goes, I think this is what you're looking for. I never, I'm not a big computer guy, and honestly, like we don't use networks here, so it never bothered me that it was running, and I never had to fix it. It always kept running. I was always kind of amazed that I never had to like reboot the server or do any kind of like maintenance on it.
Well, you got a modem on there, don't you? She says, just like pointing to the one he has.
I go, yeah.
Whenever I get out of here, you're probably going to have to keep admin duties up on this. But at least if you know that it's broken, you can call someone else to deal with it.
Like I said, these guys aren't really into computers, and like I said, outside of the race cars, they don't really like. This is the only real programming I do anyway. Because I'm more of a fuel chip processor programmer than a network programmer.
Yeah, I more prefer working on my own personalized consultant software more than anything. But, well, you get a job, what are you going to do?
Exactly. He goes, well, I got to go down, and he goes, I got some maintenance techs on the old Roadrunner. So, yeah, if you got any problems, he gives you, like, his contact information. Like, just give me a buzz, and I'll answer any questions. But honestly, whatever you think is going on is happening behind that door.
Right, I won't mind you coming in and taking a peek every now and then just to make sure my brain didn't fry from some crazy AI or something. Appreciate it.
No problem. And with that, he walks downstairs, and sure enough, the door he points to, it has an old faded name plaque on the top of it that says server room.
Okay.
Walk up and approach the door, you realize that it's locked.
Nobody brought the keys at all. Or, well, everything's faded and old here.
Right, you're probably under the impression that there is no key. No one has ever bothered to find a key.
Perhaps I could use awareness and just see if one has been left around the building.
Search around the floor, there's nothing of use. Lint, trash, plastic, junk.
If you need somebody handy to get into doors that are locked, there is a guy you know.
There is, in fact, someone I know, and I could definitely call Meridine as well, and undoubtedly she could also handle a basic door.
Yeah, you know her better than you know Ricky.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now that the door is mechanically locked. It's an old lock. It's not sophisticated, but it's like someone locked the door and threw away the key kind of deal.
Oof.
And it's going to require a pick-locking skill for you to get into the door, or someone kicking the door.
Well, so you can call Ricky or Trench.
So you can call Trench and say, hey, hold this door for me.
You know what you did with the car? Just do it to the door.
Yeah. Or
80 miles an hour is fine.
You could call someone you could ask someone who has a pick-lock skill to lock the door, or to unlock the door.
Alright, so
Lock it back after you leave.
I will tell you, Kitty, I will tell you immediately that it is a solid steel door. So it looks like it would probably be easier to pick the lock than have someone break it down. Or someone
right, so kicking it down probably was not an option. I did float in my head, but I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna work.
You could, but it would literally require someone to like beat the door down.
Okay. It also means I can't like talk to the AI and tell them to open it up. So, well, I'm gonna wait until I'm gonna send out the message and wait until one of them appears.
All right, so Meridine, you get the group. We'll say the group gets a selective text. Like, anyone know how to pick locks?
Ricky will respond with the I do. What kind of lock is it?
Meridine will respond.
What's a little old? Maybe pre-90s.
Meridine will respond like this.
Oh God, I'm so glad that I just knew that I was gonna have to do it instead of someone who uses uwu unironically. So Ricky will head on over to wherever the hell he'll like try to look.
Admin
Guide-
building,
she gives
floor
you the
2.
instructions. Yeah, she gives you instructions. Second floor, next building. You go in there. Like I said, you see the same thing. First floor is storage. Second floor is just abandoned office. And yeah, Kitty points to you and says, "Here, there's a lock. Do something."
All right.
You'll have to
Thanks.
make a pickpocket check.
Pick lock, you mean, or pickpocket?
Lock, sorry, pick lock check. It's a DC
Gotcha.
15.
And 10.
13.
Was close.
Rest in peace. I'm gonna use 2 points of luck to make it.
All right. Yeah, it's an old lock, and it's not that it was hard to unlock. It was actually just really old and messed up and kind of antiquated. So it's just kind of like you had to do refresher course lock picking again.
Yeah.
But you just managed, Ricky, with just a little bit of luck. You managed to snap it
Hey.
open.
Yeah, always talking about like.
And like the Fallout lock picking mini game.
Yeah,
Like,
I almost
you
clacked it.
like, yeah, you feel like
Kitty
it's
will like
kind of
approach like she's gonna show like some incredible affection, and then just gives you like a gentle pat on the back. It's like, yeah,
He
good
will
job.
still recoil from the touch.
Yeah.
So with that, the door pops open and goes slightly ajar.
All right. Anything else you need me for, or should I just stay with you in case you have another door you want me to open?
Well, let's find out real quick. What's in this room, sir?
After you, madam.
I have a question. Did Ricky like text us about the armory?
I didn't text Meriden with it.
Okay.
No, by the time you got
Kitty
to the
probably
other
would have
door,
like casually mentioned like, oh yeah, they're gonna check out some armory or something.
So yeah, Ricky, by the time you got to the armory, you got the text, so you didn't get a chance to look in. You just got to the door. And went, oh, text message. Okay.
Yay. I gotta do something other than what I want, of course.
So Kitty, you open the door. You see a very, very basic, properly laid out server room. There are computer server racks. I hope you know what those are.
Mm-hmm.
Not a clue.
No, I got a computer science degree. I have no idea.
Yeah. So yeah, you see a bunch of racks. There's probably about three or four in there. You see and clusters, racked up in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's old and musty and dusty in here. Like literally, no one has opened this door in 20 years. You do know that these rooms are supposed to have climate control, and it's not been working.
Well, I'm
As
gonna
you
add
op-
that to the list of things to ask Meredith to work on.
So as you open the door and you take a look at the racks, you realize that sure enough, the majority of the servers are offline. There's no activity on any of the lights. You do see a few of them, sadly, on and still operating. It's obvious that this server room has seen better days. And so as you scan the room and see the server cluster and all that, you look, and on one side of the wall, you see a table, a terminal, each device on the table.
Just a out of place device, or just a terminal.
It's a rather normal terminal. You recognize it as being circa 2000-ish kind of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
it
I'm,
probably represents a pretty good access point.
You go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to like haul that couch from the break room out there into here, that'd be wonderful of you.
But
So Rick, you have to leave.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
That's okay. All right, because like I said, since lesson learned had to leave anyway, this was going to be more or RP than action. So
Regardless, I thought I would have more time. That way I could help out with a lot more. Sorry.
no problem, dude.
Yeah, no
see you
problem.
next week.
All right, I will.
we won't kill you in your sleep. Don't worry.
Maybe.
We
Catch you later, man.
I'll try.
We won't sacrifice you.
I mean, if it's for the cause, I'm okay with a good sacrifice.
It's gonna be for Cthulhu.
Maybe not him.
All right. So, Ricky goes back. He goes, I'll check you later. I'm going to check the armory. And he wanders off. And like I said, you look at this table with the chair. You see this device. It's basically a tripod, like a camera tripod setup. But it would be a camera, like the camera mount area. It has what you can only, the closest facsimile that you can imagine it looking like is like a radar dish dome thing. Like you ever seen that are completely encased in a plastic like oval Doppler radar, or like the
I kind of
AWACS.
know what you're meaning, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a big, it looks like a big M&M plastic tripod, and the only association you have is like it's like a radar sweeper kind of device.
Wouldn't
And
that be awfully convenient?
and so yeah, the terminal is offline. Thing is just sitting there. You don't know if it's on or off, right? It doesn't seem to be registering as there's no activity lights or anything on it. It is plugged in though, and yeah, there's a worn, faded chair in front of the table and the terminal.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and take my seat there, set my modem on the table, crack my knuckles a little bit, and plug in.
Explode.
Terminal is dead.
Well, I guess I'll just have to hook up directly to one of the racks then.
The wreck is dead.
Well, I mean, one of them's working. The AI is on something.
And so, all right. So as you wander around, you through the few remaining servers that you have, you're able to punch in. But now, which means you now have direct access to the physical network. And
Yep.
as you do, hack into it to access anything more than your guest level privilege.
Okay.
So you're now going to do your first hack.
Woo, tack in.
So, like I said, we discussed this before. As we see, you first must perform a library search skill plus intelligence plus D10.
Right, and that'll be
gonna
to find the stuff I'm looking for.
Right, so that's on a difficulty of 25 because it's a corporate network.
Well, I mean, I already know the network because it's literally right here and I'm plugged directly into it, so I don't need to find it. Library search in this case would be more I'm on it and I'm trying to find files as I mess around with stuff.
Right, so you'll
That'd
have
be
to
like 2 steps ahead.
Right, so because you have guest level privileges and not admin level privileges, some of what's obscure to you is some of the subdirectories that you know are locked behind privileges. Research to identify where those directories are and what you need to do to unlock them. 25.
Let's see, and is it just library search, or are there more things involved on that?
It is, according to me, this library search skill plus your intelligence ability score and then a D10.
Okay, so just that, not even interface involved with this for searching around. But I do have a program which helps with library search, so that's +1. So I think if I roll this, it should add in intelligence automatically.
If it prompts you for a modifier, just put +1.
Yep.
Ouch.
There we go. I got 16 on this, which is pretty average.
Which, yeah, you got some basic layouts of stuff, but you're still not quite sure where everything is necessary for you to truly unlock it. I'll let you run another search because, unlike most other corporate networks, this is operating at a degraded state. So,
If we're trying to hit like 25, I literally can't do that.
Can't do that. What's your bonus?
+10.
Yeah, if you do a 10, he's just going to get to 21.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Right, so there might be stuff that's just like literally broken on the network, or like there's a password and it's encrypted and it'll never be found again.
Right. So all right, I got a solution to this problem. As you're doing this, you realize that while you have a way more sophisticated machine, than this computer network because of, let's just call it standards, revisions. It would just be like you having to reprogram your cyber deck to get it to connect properly. And you
Okay.
realize, turned on the terminal and got that working, 50% of your problem.
Okay.
Because it would have the necessary interface and the necessary functions that you could surmise where you need to go.
Okay. I could probably even do that a bit myself, depending on what the check is.
And
Electronics?
so, it will be an electronics check to see what's wrong with it.
Okay, so I can go ahead and do that myself, and if I'm not good enough, I can call on Meridine to get the terminal working again.
So if you want to, you can run the electronics check. If you fail, you can ask Meridine.
Well, at the moment, like Meriden is just at the car, turned off, just looking into the window and waiting.